Jake Morrison stood on the balcony of the colony building and looked out at New Eden. The morning sun made the crystal lakes shine like mirrors. Children played in the parks below while their parents worked in the gardens. 50,000 people called this planet home. They had built something beautiful here. Dr. Lisa Grant rushed into Jake's office with worry on her face. She carried a datapad that showed strange readings from space. "Jake, you need to see this," she said. "My sensors are picking up something big coming our way." Jake looked at the numbers on her screen. He did not understand all the science, but he could see Lisa was scared. "How big are we talking?" he asked. "Bigger than anything we have ever seen," Lisa said. "The energy readings are off the charts. Whatever it is, it will be here in less than an hour." Jake felt his stomach drop. New Eden had small defense platforms around the planet. They were meant to stop pirates or meteors, not handle a real threat. The colony had been peaceful for 30 years. No one expected trouble this far from Earth. "Send a message to Earth," Jake told his communications officer. "Tell them we might have visitors." The officer tried to send the message, but shook his head. "Something is blocking our signals, sir. I cannot get through." Lisa ran to the window and pointed up at the sky. "There," she said. Jake looked up and saw dark shapes moving between the stars. They were huge ships, bigger than anything humans had ever built. The ships had strange angles and gave off a red glow. More and more of them appeared until they filled the sky. The colony's warning sirens started to wail. People in the streets stopped and looked up at the alien fleet. Some pointed and took pictures. Others grabbed their children and ran for cover. Captain Rick Barnes was at the edge of the star system in his patrol ship when he saw the alien fleet arrive. The UHS Guardian was small and old, but it had good sensors. Rick watched in horror as hundreds of alien ships surrounded New Eden. "This is Guardian to New Eden Control," Rick said into his radio. "I see the alien fleet. What are your orders?" Jake's voice came back weak and full of static. "Captain Barnes, stay hidden. Record everything. If we do not make it, someone needs to tell Earth what happened here." Rick wanted to help, but his small ship had only basic weapons. Against hundreds of alien warships, he would die in seconds. He activated his stealth systems and moved his ship behind a large asteroid. On New Eden, the alien ships began to move. They arranged themselves in perfect formation around the planet. Jake tried again to contact Earth, but the aliens were still blocking all signals. "Sir," his defense coordinator said, "our platforms are targeting the alien ships. Should we fire?" Jake thought fast. Maybe the aliens just wanted to talk. Maybe they were peaceful. But something about their ships looked wrong. They had weapons pointing at the planet. Big weapons. "Hold fire," Jake said. "Let me try to talk to them first." He opened all radio channels and spoke into his microphone. "Unknown ships. This is Colony Administrator Jake Morrison of New Eden. We are a peaceful settlement. We mean you no harm. Please respond." For a long moment there was only silence. Then a deep voice spoke in perfect English. The voice was cold and had no emotion. "Humans of New Eden, you have spread too far into our space. Your kind grows too fast and takes too much. This ends now." Jake felt ice in his veins. "Please," he said. "We can talk about this. We can move if you want this planet. There are 50,000 innocent people here." "Innocence is not relevant," the alien voice said. "You are a threat that must be removed." The first alien ship fired. A beam of blue energy hit New Eden's main defense platform and turned it into burning metal. The explosion lit up the sky. Jake grabbed his microphone. "All defense platforms return fire. Civilian transports launch immediately." The small human weapons hit the alien shields and did nothing. The aliens did not even slow down. More blue beams struck the other defense platforms. In 5 minutes, all of New Eden's defenses were gone. The civilian transports tried to escape the planet. These were small ships meant to carry families between colonies. They had no weapons and weak shields. The alien fleet hunted them down one by one. Rick watched through his ship's cameras as escape pods were destroyed before they could even leave the atmosphere. Jake made one last transmission to space, hoping someone would hear. This is New Eden. We are under attack by hostile aliens. They are destroying everything. If anyone receives this, tell Earth that we tried to be peaceful. Tell them that we fought to the end. The alien ships began firing at the planet itself. Massive energy beams struck the cities and turned them into glass. The lakes boiled away into steam. The gardens and parks became ash. Jake held Lisa's hand as the colony building shook around them. Captain Barnes recorded everything from his hiding place. He saw the alien ships work with terrible efficiency. They did not just attack military targets. They destroyed everything. Schools, hospitals, farms, homes. Nothing was left alive. The bombardment lasted for 3 hours. When it was over, New Eden was a dead world. The beautiful planet that 50,000 people had called home was now just rock and ash. The alien fleet regrouped and jumped away to hyperspace, leaving only silence behind. Rick Barnes sat in his ship and cried. He had watched 50,000 people die, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. But he had recorded everything. He had proof of what happened here. He fired up his engines and jumped to hyperspace, racing back to Earth. Someone had to know. Someone had to pay for what happened to New Eden. Behind him, the dead world spun quietly in space, waiting for justice that might never come. Commander Alex Peterson stood in the briefing room aboard Luna Station, studying star charts of alien space. Intelligence teams had been working for months to learn about the Kethvar Empire. What they discovered made everyone's blood run cold. The Kethvar control 47 star systems, reported Intelligence Officer Major Carol White. They've been conquering worlds for over 200 years. Every species they encounter gets the same treatment, total extermination. Alex pointed to a cluster of red dots on the star map. What about their military strength? Massive fleets based in fortress systems, Carol replied. They believe in overwhelming force. Hit hard, kill everything, move on to the next target. They've never faced an enemy that could fight back effectively. Admiral Sullivan entered the briefing room with urgent news. Alex, we've located the fleet that destroyed New Eden. Our deep space monitors picked up energy signatures matching the attack. They're operating out of a system called SciFiPrime, about 60 light years from here. Alex felt his jaw clench. Who's commanding that fleet? Admiral Varithkai, according to intercepted communications. He's being celebrated as a hero for the New Eden massacre. The Kethvar leadership is so impressed they've given him command of their invasion force. Invasion force? Alex asked. Carol brought up new intelligence reports. That's the worst news, sir. New Eden wasn't their main goal. It was a test. They wanted to see how humans would react to losing a colony. Based on our response, they're planning something much bigger. The star map changed to show Earth and the core human worlds. Red arrows pointed toward humanity's home system from multiple directions. They're massing the largest fleet in Kethvar history, Carol continued. Over 1,000 ships. Their plan is to hit Earth directly and wipe out humanity before we can become a real threat. Alex stared at the tactical display. The aliens thought they were being smart by striking first, but they had made a critical error. They had given humanity time to prepare, and humans were very good at preparation when their survival was at stake. I need to get close to their main base, Alex said. We need to know exactly what they're planning and when they plan to do it. Admiral Sullivan nodded. The UHS Shadowhawk is ready for a deep reconnaissance mission. She's our most advanced stealth ship, equipped with every sensor and spying device we've developed. 2 days later, Alex stood on the bridge of the Shadowhawk as it prepared to jump into hyperspace. The ship was smaller than his flagship, but packed with the most sophisticated technology humanity had ever created. His crew included Lieutenant Sam Hughes on tactical and Chief Nina Torres on sensors. Remember, Alex told his crew, we're going into the heart of enemy territory. One mistake and we'll end up like New Eden. Stay sharp and stay quiet. The Shadowhawk jumped to hyperspace and began the dangerous journey to Kethvar space. The trip took 5 days, with the ship making short jumps and long pauses to avoid detection. Each time they dropped back into normal space, Nina scanned for alien patrol ships. Contact, Nina whispered as they approached the Varith system. 12 Kethvar vessels on patrol pattern. They're not looking for us specifically. But they're definitely watching for intruders. Alex studied the tactical display. The alien ships were massive and heavily armed, but they were moving in predictable patterns. Can you get us through? Give me an hour to study their movements, Nina replied. She worked at her console, mapping patrol routes and finding gaps in coverage. There's a window in 37 minutes. We'll have 8 minutes to get past their sensors. The Shadowhawk drifted silently through space, waiting for the perfect moment. When Nina gave the signal, they slipped between the patrol ships like a ghost. Alex held his breath until they were safely past the outer defenses. SciFiPrime was a fortress world covered with military bases and shipyards. Hundreds of HFY warships orbited the planet in perfect formations. At the center of the fleet was the largest ship Alex had ever seen, a massive dreadnought that dwarfed everything around it. That's gotta be SciFi's flagship, Sam said. Look at the size of that monster. Nina ran detailed scans of the alien ships. I'm reading weapon systems we've never seen before. Energy cannons, missile launchers, some kind of gravity weapon. That dreadnought could probably destroy a moon. Alex ordered the ship to move closer to the main base. They needed detailed intelligence about HFY military capabilities and invasion plans. Using advanced sensors, they began mapping the alien facilities and recording everything. Sir, Nina said urgently, I'm detecting something disturbing. That dreadnought, it's called the World Burner, and it's carrying debris from New Eden. Alex felt sick. What kind of debris? Personal items. Toys, furniture, photographs. The aliens are keeping trophies from the people they murdered. The rage that filled Alex was white-hot and focused. The aliens had not just killed 50,000 humans, they were celebrating it. They had turned the belongings of dead children into decorations for their flagship. Sam discovered something even worse while monitoring alien communications. Commander, I've broken their communication codes. They're not just planning to attack Earth. They want to exterminate every human in the galaxy. They call it the final cleansing. Alex recorded everything as his crew gathered intelligence. The HFY invasion would launch in 6 months. Over 1,000 ships would attack human colonies simultaneously, with the main force heading straight for Earth. The aliens expected total victory within a year. They're so confident, Nina observed. They think humans are just another weak species to be eliminated. That confidence is going to be their downfall, Alex replied grimly. The Shadowhawk spent 3 days in the Varith system, mapping every ship and base. They recorded tactical data, weapon specifications, and troop movements. Most importantly, they planted quantum beacons throughout the system, tiny devices that would guide human attack fleets directly to their targets. As they prepared to leave, Alex took one last look at the World Burner through the ship's cameras. Somewhere on that massive vessel were the personal belongings of Jake Morrison, Dr. Lisa Grant, and 49,000 other innocent people. The aliens thought those trophies showed their strength. Soon they would learn that those trophies had signed their death warrant. The Shadowhawk slipped past the patrol ships and jumped to hyperspace. During the long journey home, Alex and his crew analyzed everything they had learned. The HFY Empire was powerful and ruthless, but they had fatal weaknesses. They're used to fighting primitive species, Sam noted. Their tactics are designed for overwhelming weaker enemies. They've never faced advanced weapons or coordinated resistance. And they're arrogant, Nina added. They don't think any species can match their technology. They're about to get a very unpleasant surprise. When the Shadowhawk returned to human space, Alex immediately reported to Admiral Sullivan and President Mitchell. The intelligence they had gathered would change everything about humanity's war plans. 6 months, Alex said as he briefed the leadership. That's how long we have before they launch their extermination campaign. But now we know exactly where they are, what they have, and how they plan to attack us. President Mitchell studied the alien fleet positions on the tactical display. What do you recommend, Commander? Alex smiled coldly. We don't wait for them to attack us, sir. We strike first, we strike hard, and we make sure none of them survive to threaten another human colony. The hunt was about to begin. Captain Rick Barnes arrived at Luna Station 3 days after New Eden died. His small ship docked with the massive space station that orbited Earth's moon. Rick had not slept during the journey. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the alien ships destroying everything. Admiral Kate Sullivan was waiting for him at the docking bay. She was a tall woman with gray hair and hard eyes. Kate had commanded the Colonial Defense Force for 10 years, but she had never seen anything like the recordings Rick brought with him. "Show me," Kate said as they walked to the briefing room. Rick played the video files on the main screen. Kate watched in silence as the alien fleet surrounded New Eden. She saw the defense platforms destroyed in minutes. She watched civilian ships hunted down like animals. When the planetary bombardment began, Kate's hands formed fists. 50,000 people, Rick said quietly, all dead in 3 hours. They did not even try to capture the planet, they just killed everyone. Kate stared at the screen as New Eden burned. Did they give any reason? Any demands? They said humans were spreading too far, that we were a threat. That had to be removed. Rick's voice was bitter. They called it pest control. Kate ordered copies of the recording sent to Earth immediately. Within hours, the footage was being shown to the United Earth Council. President Carl Mitchell called. An emergency session. Every leader on Earth watched as an alien fleet committed genocide against their people. The president addressed the world that evening. He stood behind his desk in the White House, looking older than his 60 years. "My fellow humans," he began. "Today I must tell you something that will change everything. We are not alone in the universe, and we have enemies among the stars." He showed the world what happened to New Eden. People in every country watched their televisions in shock and horror. The peaceful colony where children played in parks was now a dead rock floating in space. "The aliens who did this called us a threat," the president said. "They said we spread too far and grow too fast. They decided to solve this problem by murdering 50,000 innocent people. Across Earth, something changed in the human spirit. It was not panic or fear. It was something much more dangerous. It was cold, focused anger. Humans had been attacked by aliens who thought they could wipe out entire colonies without consequences." Dr. Henry Walsh was watching the president's speech from his secret laboratory beneath the Rocky Mountains. Henry ran the Prometheus Research Division, a program so classified that only a dozen people knew it existed. For 20 years, his team had been developing weapons and ships for threats that might come from space. Henry picked up his secure phone and called Admiral Sullivan. "Kate," he said, "I think it's time we showed you what we've been building." The next morning, Kate flew to the Prometheus facility in Colorado. Henry met her at the entrance to the underground complex. As they rode the elevator down into the mountain, Henry explained what his team had been doing. "We always knew this day might come," he said. "When humans started spreading to other worlds, we had to consider the possibility of hostile contact. So we prepared." The elevator stopped, and the doors opened to reveal a massive underground hangar. Kate stepped out and gasped. Dozens of ships filled the space, but these were not like any vessels she had seen before. They were sleek and deadly, covered in weapons that looked like they belonged in science fiction. "Antimatter torpedoes," Henry said, pointing to one ship. "Each one can destroy a city. Plasma lance arrays that can cut through any armor. Quantum disruptors that tear apart matter at the atomic level." Kate walked between the ships, amazed. "How many do you have?" 50 completed vessels, with more being built every day. "We've been working on this for decades, Kate. We're ready for war." Admiral Sullivan knew she needed the right person to command these advanced ships. She called Commander Alex Peterson back from Deep Space Patrol. Alex was 35 years old and had spent his entire adult life in space. He was one of the best ship commanders in the fleet. Alex arrived at Luna Station and was briefed on the situation. When he saw the recordings from New Eden, his face went hard. When Kate showed him the new ships, his eyes lit up. "These aliens think they can murder our people and fly away," Alex said. "They're about to learn how wrong they are." Kate promoted Alex to fleet commander and gave him control of the new Retribution fleet. The ships were moved from their secret bases to staging areas throughout human space. Each vessel was crewed by volunteers who had seen what happened to New Eden. The news of the alien attack spread to every human colony. Ships arrived daily at Earth carrying supplies and personnel. Miners from the asteroid belt donated rare metals. Factory worlds retooled their production lines to build weapons. Scientists shared their research freely. Commander Peterson stood on the bridge of his new flagship, the UHS Retribution. The ship was twice the size of a normal cruiser and carried enough firepower to level a continent. Around him, his crew prepared for humanity's first interstellar war. Lieutenant Sam Hughes, his tactical officer, was studying intelligence reports about the aliens. "Sir, we've identified the species that attacked New Eden. They call themselves the Kith of our empire. They've conquered dozens of worlds using the same tactics." Chief Warrant Officer Nina Torres, the sensor specialist, added more information. According to intercepted communications, they see humans as particularly dangerous because we spread so fast and adapt quickly. New Eden was supposed to be a warning to make us stop expanding. Alex laughed, but there was no humor in it. A warning? They just made the biggest mistake in galactic history. Dr. Walsh arrived with the latest weapon designs. His team had been working around the clock to create new ways to destroy alien ships. "We've developed something special," he said. "Gravitational mines that can create artificial black holes. They'll tear apart anything that gets too close." As the weeks passed, more ships joined the Retribution fleet. The aliens had attacked one small colony, but they had awakened something much larger. Humanity was mobilizing for total war. President Mitchell made another speech to the world. "The aliens thought they could frighten us by destroying New Eden," he said. "Instead, they have united every human in the galaxy. We will find them, we will face them, and we will show them that humanity does not forgive genocide." In space stations and shipyards throughout human territory, the greatest war fleet in human history was taking shape. The aliens had wanted to stop human expansion. Instead, they had given humanity a reason to expand much faster and with much deadlier purpose. Commander Peterson looked out at his growing fleet and smiled grimly. The aliens had killed 50,000 innocent people. Soon they would learn the price of that mistake. 6 months had passed since New Eden burned. The human war machine had worked without rest, building the largest fleet in human history. 200 ships filled with humanity's rage and equipped with weapons that could reshape reality itself. Admiral Kate Sullivan stood on the bridge of her flagship, the UHS Vengeance, as the Retribution fleet prepared for battle. Around her, officers worked at their stations with deadly focus. Every person in the fleet had volunteered for this mission. Every person had watched the recordings from New Eden. "All ships report ready, Admiral," her communications officer announced. Kate looked out at her fleet through the main screen. Heavy cruisers bristled with antimatter torpedoes. Destroyers carried quantum disruptor arrays. The experimental battleship, UHS Devastation, mounted the new Nova cannon, a weapon that could crack planets. "Signal the fleet," Kate ordered. "Today we answer for New Eden. Today we show these aliens what happens when you commit genocide against humanity." The fleet jumped to hyperspace in perfect formation. Their target was SciFiPrime, the main military base of the Kethvar Empire. Intelligence showed it was heavily defended with over 300 alien warships and planetary defense systems that could destroy entire fleets. Commander Alex Peterson commanded a strike group of 50 ships tasked with hunting Admiral Varethkai and his flagship Worldburner. The alien who had ordered New Eden's destruction would face human justice personally. Captain Maria Valdez commanded the UHS Vengeance's sister ship, the UHS Retribution. Her vessel carried the prototype Nova cannon and enough firepower to level continents. Maria had lost her brother in the New Eden massacre. Today was personal for her. The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Jektar system. Immediately, alien sensors detected their presence. Warning signals flashed through the Kethvar fleet as hundreds of enemy ships scrambled to defensive positions. "Alien vessels are moving to intercept," reported Lieutenant Hughes from his tactical station. "They're forming up in standard attack formation." Admiral Sullivan smiled grimly. The aliens were reacting exactly as expected. Their tactics had worked against primitive species, but they were about to face something entirely new. "Deploy the gravitational mines," Kate ordered. 50 small devices launched from the human ships and spread throughout the system. When they activated, space itself began to bend and twist. Artificial black holes formed at strategic points, creating gravitational traps that would tear apart any ship unlucky enough to get too close. The first wave of Kethvar ships charged toward the human fleet, firing their energy weapons. The blue beams that had destroyed New Eden's defenses struck human shields and absorbed harmlessly. "Their weapons are useless against our defensive systems," Hughes reported with satisfaction. "Our shields are holding perfectly." "Return fire," Admiral Sullivan commanded. "Show them what real weapons look like." The human fleet opened fire with everything they had. Antimatter torpedoes streaked through space, each one carrying enough destructive power to vaporize a city. When they struck the alien ships, the results were spectacular. Massive Kethvar vessels simply disappeared in flashes of pure energy. Plasma lance arrays fired beams of superheated matter that cut through alien hulls like knives through paper. Quantum disruptors tore apart enemy ships at the molecular level, leaving nothing but floating debris. The aliens had never seen weapons like these. Their own technology suddenly looked primitive in comparison. Ships that had conquered dozens of worlds were being destroyed in seconds by human firepower. "Sir," Nina Torres reported from her sensor station, "I'm detecting panic in their communications. They're calling for reinforcements from every system they control." Alex Peterson's strike group had found their target. The World Burner and Admiral Verethkai's personal fleet were trying to escape the battle. The massive alien dreadnought was heading for the hyperspace jump point, hoping to flee before the humans could catch them. "Not today," Alex said coldly. "All ships, intercept course. Don't let that butcher escape." The human strike group moved with perfect coordination. Advanced engines pushed their ships faster than anything the aliens could match. Within minutes, they had blocked the World Burner's escape route. Admiral Verethkai's voice crackled over the communication channels. The alien sounded desperate and afraid. "Human ships, this is Admiral Verethkai. I propose we discuss terms of surrender." Alex responded with ice in his voice. "This is Commander Peterson of the United Earth Forces. You murdered 50,000 innocent people on New Eden. You kept their belongings as trophies. There will be no surrender. There will be no mercy." The battle around HFY reached its peak as more alien reinforcements arrived. But every ship they sent was destroyed by human weapons that defied their understanding of physics. Swarm missile systems launched thousands of projectiles that sought out targets with deadly precision. Energy weapons drew power directly from nearby stars, making them virtually unlimited in firepower. Captain Valdez engaged the World Burner directly. The massive alien dreadnought was 5 times the size of her ship, but size meant nothing when facing superior technology. "Nova cannon charging," her weapons officer reported. "Target locked on enemy flagship." "Fire," Maria ordered. The Nova cannon released a beam of pure energy that could harvest the power of stars. When it struck the World Burner, the alien ship's shields collapsed instantly. The beam continued through the hull, cutting the massive dreadnought completely in half. As the World Burner died, its treasures from New Eden scattered into space. Children's toys, family photographs, and personal belongings drifted among the wreckage like ghosts demanding justice. Admiral Verethkai's final transmission was a scream of rage and disbelief. Lieutenant Colonel Paul Rodriguez led the ground assault on HFY's command center. His soldiers wore advanced power armor that made them nearly invincible. Their weapons fired magnetically accelerated projectiles that could punch through any armor the aliens possessed. The human ground forces moved with surgical precision through the alien base. They destroyed military targets while carefully avoiding civilian areas. Unlike the aliens, humans did not make war on innocent populations. "Command center secured," Rodriguez reported as his soldiers captured the main alien headquarters. "We've got their strategic plans and communication codes. Intelligence is going to love this." The Battle of HFY lasted 8 hours. When it was over, the main military base of the Kethvar Empire was in ruins. Over 300 alien ships had been destroyed while the human fleet had lost only 12 vessels. Admiral Sullivan stood on her bridge, looking out at the wreckage of the alien fleet. Burning ships drifted through space, their hulls cracked, opened by weapons they never could have imagined. "Signal all ships," Kate ordered. "Phase 1 is complete. Begin Phase 2 operations." Across HFY space, human strike fleets were attacking 12 different systems simultaneously. The aliens had scattered their forces to defend multiple worlds, not realizing that humanity had enough firepower to attack everywhere at once. Commander Peterson regrouped his ships and headed for the next target, the alien who had destroyed. New Eden was dead, but the war was far from over. The HFY Empire had to be completely destroyed to ensure they could never threaten humanity again. "Sir," Hughes reported, "we're receiving surrender offers from 6 different alien worlds. They want to negotiate." Alex looked out at the debris field where the world burner had died. Floating among the wreckage were the belongings of 50,000 murdered humans. "No negotiations," he said quietly. "No mercy. They showed none to our people, and they'll receive none from us." The human fleet moved on to their next target, leaving behind the burning remains of alien arrogance. The HFY Empire was learning the most important lesson in galactic history: never underestimate humanity's capacity for vengeance. 3 months after the Battle of HFY, the HFY Empire was collapsing. Human fleets had destroyed 42 alien worlds and captured millions of enemy soldiers. What had once been a mighty galactic power was now a broken collection of terrified survivors. Commander Alex Peterson stood on the bridge of the UHS Retribution as his fleet approached the ruins of New Eden. Intelligence reports showed that Admiral Varethkai's successor, war leader Kreshadal, had gathered the last remnants of the alien fleet here for a final battle. "Fitting," Alex said quietly. "They started this war by destroying New Eden. Now they'll end it in the same place." Captain Maria Valdez piloted the UHS Vengeance alongside the flagship. Her ship's Nova cannon had destroyed 17 alien vessels in the past month. The weapon that could crack planets had become the terror of HFY space. "Sir," reported Lieutenant Hughes, "long-range sensors are detecting the enemy fleet. 43 ships in defensive formation around what's left of New Eden's orbital platforms." Alex studied the tactical display. The aliens had turned the dead colony into a fortress, using the wreckage as cover for their weapons. It was their last stand, and they had chosen to make it among the graves of their first victims. "They're using our people's homes as shields," Nina Torres said with disgust. "Even now they show no respect for the innocent." Admiral Sullivan's voice came over the communications channel from Luna Station. "Alex, you have authorization to use any means necessary. The President wants this finished today." Alex nodded to his crew. "Signal the fleet. All ships prepare for final engagement. Today we end this war." The human fleet moved into attack formation. 200 ships spread across space in perfect coordination. These vessels represented the finest technology humanity had ever created, crewed by soldiers who had lost friends and family to alien hatred. War leader Kreshadal transmitted a final message to the human fleet. The alien's voice was tired and defeated. "Human Commander, this is Kreshadal of the HFY Empire. We acknowledge our defeat. We offer complete surrender and will accept any terms you demand." Alex considered the offer for exactly 3 seconds. Then he remembered Jake Morrison's final transmission from New Eden. He remembered 50,000 innocent people murdered in their homes. He remembered children's toys floating in space around the destroyed world burner. "This is Commander Peterson," Alex replied. "You offered no mercy to the families of New Eden. You kept their belongings as trophies. You plan to exterminate every human in the galaxy. Your surrender is rejected." The alien leader's voice became desperate. "Please, Commander. We were wrong. We underestimated humanity. We will leave this sector of space forever. We will never threaten your people again. You had your chance to avoid this war," Alex said coldly. "You chose genocide instead. Now face the consequences." The final battle began with humanity unleashing weapons that bent reality itself. Gravitational mines created whirlpools in space that tore apart enemy ships. Quantum disruptors unraveled alien vessels at the atomic level. Antimatter torpedoes turned massive dreadnoughts into expanding clouds of energy. The aliens fought with the desperation of a cornered animal, but their weapons were obsolete compared to human technology. Blue energy beams that had once inspired fear now barely scratched human shields. Captain Valdez found herself facing war leader Creshadal's flagship, a massive battlecruiser that was trying to ram her ship in a suicide attack. Maria smiled grimly and targeted the alien vessel with her Nova cannon. "This is for New Eden," she said as she fired. The beam of stellar energy cut through the alien flagship like paper. Creshadal's final scream of rage was cut short as his ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light. Lieutenant Colonel Rodriguez led a boarding assault on one of the surviving alien vessels. His power-armored soldiers moved through the ship's corridors, accepting the surrender of alien crew members who threw down their weapons. "Sir," one of his soldiers reported, "we've found something you need to see." Rodriguez followed his soldier to the ship's trophy room. The walls were covered with belongings taken from destroyed worlds, not just from New Eden, but from dozens of other civilizations the Kethvar had exterminated over the centuries. "They've been doing this for 200 years, Rodriguez said, with horrified understanding. New Eden wasn't their first genocide. It was just another day's work for them. The knowledge that the aliens had murdered countless innocent species across the galaxy only strengthened humanity's resolve. These creatures were not just enemies. They were a plague that had to be completely eliminated. The last alien ship was destroyed exactly 1 year after New Eden had burned. As the final explosion faded, space around the dead colony became quiet for the first time in months. Alex stood on his bridge, looking out at the debris field that had once been the Kethvar Empire's final fleet. His crew was silent, processing the magnitude of what they had accomplished. Humanity had faced its first alien threat and responded with such overwhelming force that no enemy remained. "Signal all ships," Alex ordered. "The war is over. The Kethvar Empire has been completely destroyed." Across human space, celebrations erupted as news of victory spread. But for the men and women who had fought the war, there was only quiet satisfaction. They had done what needed to be done. Dr. Lisa Grant, who had somehow survived New Eden's destruction in a hidden research bunker, returned to begin rebuilding the colony. She found Alex standing in what had once been the town square, now a crater filled with memorial stones. 50,000 names, Lisa said, reading the inscriptions. "Every person who died here." Alex nodded. "They won't be forgotten, and no one will ever doubt humanity's willingness to avenge our own." Construction ships began the work of rebuilding New Eden. The colony would rise again, stronger than before, but it would also serve as a memorial to the price of underestimating human determination. Commander Sarah Morrison, Jake Morrison's daughter, was appointed as the new colonial administrator. She had served aboard the UHS Retribution during the war and had been present when Admiral Varethkai's flagship was destroyed. "My father tried to save this colony with words," Sarah said at the dedication ceremony. "We saved it with firepower. Sometimes that's the only language the universe understands." In the months that followed, other alien civilizations sent diplomatic missions to Earth. They had monitored the war between humans and the Kethvar Empire. The message they received was clear. Humanity was not to be threatened. The Galactic Council, a loose alliance of peaceful species, offered humanity membership and a seat at their governing body. President Mitchell accepted, but made it clear that humans would not be pushed around. "We prefer peace," the president told the alien diplomats. "But if you threaten our people, you'll face the same fate as the Kethvar Empire." Alex Peterson was promoted to admiral and given command of the new Deep Space Defense Force. His job was to patrol the outer rim of human space and watch for new threats. The ships under his command carried weapons that could destroy entire solar systems if necessary. Standing on the rebuilt observation deck of New Eden Station, Alex looked out at the peaceful colony below. Children played in parks while their parents worked in gardens. It looked almost exactly like it had before the war, but now massive defense platforms orbited the planet. Human warships patrolled the system constantly, and every adult colonist had trained with military weapons and knew how to use them. Nina Torres, now a captain, approached Alex with the latest intelligence reports. "Sir, we're detecting increased chatter from the outer rim. Some species are forming an alliance against human expansion." Alex smiled coldly. "Let them come. They'll learn the same lesson as the Kethvar." He looked up at the stars, knowing that somewhere out there other alien civilizations were watching and deciding whether humans were a threat worth eliminating. They were welcome to try. Humanity had been tested by genocide and had responded with overwhelming force. The species that had once been scattered across a few dozen worlds was now united by the memory of New Eden and the knowledge that they could defend themselves against any threat. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans were peaceful. By choice, not weakness. Cross that line and face consequences beyond imagination. New Eden was alive again, but the universe would never forget the price of trying to destroy it.